Hi, so let us start our lecture 4 in the EDC part, and let me give you the brief summary whatever we have done till now. So initially in the first two lecture I talked about the energy band theory, okay? Energy band theory, and I discussed there that initially in the individual single atom we talked about the discrete energy level. Yes, discrete energy levels, but when we moved up to the crystal, so crystal have the large number of atoms together. So in the crystal, these single discrete energy levels are going to split up into the bands of the energy, okay? Bands of the energy. And there in the bands of energy, or we also called the energy band theory, we said that we have the two kinds of band, and we denoted these energy band diagram, okay? So we also call this energy band diagram. Now we saw that we have EV energy level, and above this EC energy level we are going to have the conduction band, and below this EV energy level we are going to have the valence band, okay? And then in the third lecture I talked about little bit about the definition of intrinsic semiconductor. Yes, then we also saw the compound semiconductor. When you bring up the atoms from the adjacent columns apart from the fourth column, then we make the compound semiconductors. And I also talked about the concept of electron and holes. Yes, and I also told you the temperature effect. So we will be discussing this temperature effect in the great details in the later videos. But I told you when you increase the temperature a little bit, then some of the covalent bond are going to break up, and electrons from the valence band will be moving to the conduction band. Okay, few of the electrons, not all the electrons from the valence band will be going up to the conduction band, but only few of the electrons which are gaining the sufficient energy. Okay, so you know the energy gap between this valence band at Eg, and the for silicon it is around 1.1 electron volt. So the electrons which are going to gain this much of energy, 1.1 electron volt, or the larger than this much of energy, only those electrons will be moving up from the valence band to the conduction band. And we saw that the concentration of the electrons which moves from the valence band to the conduction band, we denoted it by ANI. Okay, so it was the intrinsic concentration, intrinsic concentration. Okay, intrinsic concentration. And we saw that for the silicon this is the 1 into 10 to the power 10 per centimeter cube. Okay, so this much of the electron concentration moves from the valence band to the conduction band at T is equal to 300 Kelvin. Okay, don't forget this. So it depends on the temperature how many electrons will be moving from valence band to the conduction band, and we will see this how to calculate this intrinsic carrier concentration at a particular temperature. Okay, so now we have discussed this much till 3 lectures. Now let's talk about so-called extrinsic semiconductor. Okay, what happens when we dope the intrinsic semiconductor? Okay, so let's talk about that. So initially I told you that semiconductors are going to have the conductivity in between the insulators and the metal. Okay, so metals have the large conductivity, insulators have nearly zero conductivity, but the semiconductors have in between those. But what is good about the semiconductor is if we dope, and what is the doping? Doping is simply means we are going to bring up the atoms from any other elements into the silicon crystal. Okay, so we are mixing some kind of other elements or other atoms into the pure semiconductor silicon crystal. Okay, so from intrinsic means that from the pure silicon we are going to have the kind of defected semiconductor, and which we do intentionally. Okay, so if we dope this semiconductor in the efficient amount, if we dope considerable amount, then the property of this semiconductor is going to change. Okay, so we can get any conductivity between this insulator and the metal if we dope this semiconductor considerably. Okay, so this is the good, and this doping makes this semiconductor useful only. Okay, otherwise the semiconductors are of no use. Okay, because they have little bit conductivity only, but we need higher conductivity. We need to dope this semiconductor in order to get the conductivity which is somewhat equal to the metals. Okay, and if we uh, do the doping with this little bit different amount, then we can also get the conductivity which is equivalent to the insulator. So we can get any conductivity in between the insulator and the metal if we change the properties of the semiconductor. Okay, and this is the good. Now let's talk about the doping, how we can dope them, and what is the effect of the doping into the intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, initially we are going to have the intrinsic semiconductor. Okay, so just look at this picture. So this was the silicon crystal into the 2D form we talked about. Okay, so each black dot is the silicon atom, and each atom is going to have the 4 neighbors, and this each line is going to show the single electron. Okay, so these 2 electrons are sharing up the electrons with each other and making the covalent bond. Okay, now this was the case for the intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor means simple silicon crystal. We have not mixed up any other element or any other atom within the silicon crystal. Okay, so initially we had this. Now what happens when we dope? So let's talk about the doping now. So when we talk about the doping means we are bringing up any other atoms into the silicon crystal. Okay, now we can dope with the 2 ways. We call the n-type doping and p-type doping. We will be talking these dopings in the detail later in this video. But when we bring up the phosphorus or arsenic or any other atoms from the 5th column, okay, then we call this n-type doping. And when we bring up any atoms from the 3rd column of the periodic table, then we call this p-type doping. Okay, so let's look at this periodic table. So this was the 4th column. Okay, so silicon reside in this 4th column. Now if we bring up the atoms from this 5th column, okay, this is 5th column and this is the 3rd column. So n-type dopants come from the column 5th. So we call them n-type dopant. So when we bring up the atoms from the 5th column into the silicon crystal, okay, then we call it these atoms from this 5th column, we call them dopant, n-type dopants. Okay, and when we bring up the atoms from the 3rd columns like aluminum, gallium, indium, and this boron, then these atoms in the 3rd column are going to have the 3 valence electrons, and the atoms in the 5th column are going to have the 5 valence electrons. Okay, so I will be talking about these n-type and p-types in the little more detail, but just want to tell you, when we bring up the elements from the 3rd column, we call it the p-type dopant, or when we bring up the atoms or the dopants from the 5th column, then we call it n-type dopants. Okay, now let's talk about first the n-type doping. What is the n-type doping? Now I told you, when you are bringing up any atoms from the 5th column like phosphorus or arsenic, these are from the 5th column. Now let's say initially we were having this 2D structure. Now somehow we managed to replace a silicon atom with this phosphorus or the arsenic atom. Okay, so we called them n-type dopant. Okay, so we brought the n-type dopant like phosphorus or arsenic, and we replaced, let's say, any silicon atom with this phosphorus or arsenic atom. Let's see what happens now. Now these are from the 5th column, so that means they are going to have the 5 valence electrons. Yes. Now in order to complete the valence states, so the silicon atoms have the 4 valence electrons in them, so there would be 1 electrons extra in this phosphorus atom. Yes, because this need only the 4 electrons in order to complete these covalent bond formation. So the one electron would be the extra. Now this one electron, you can see here, this is the one electron, fifth electron. Now this is bound to this phosphorus atom. Okay, so this red is the phosphorus or the arsenic atom. Now this electron, which is the fifth electron, is bound to this phosphorus atom, and this electron is local. So let me tell you, the local to this phosphorus or the arsenic atom. That means it can move around this in this atom only. Okay, so we, in the previous video we talked about the localized state and the delocalized state. So now initially this electron is local to this atom and it is very weakly bound to this atom. Now the binding energy of this electron is around 0.1 electron volt, or sometimes we also denote it 0.05 electron volt. Okay, so nearly equal this amount is the binding energy of this electron. That means if you give this much of energy to this atom or this electron, it will be breaking up this bond, kind of, you can see. So it will be breaking up and it can move freely around the crystal. So initially this electron is local, but if you will give this much of the energy to this electron, then it can break up this kind of bond, which is kind of holding this electron to this atom together. Then it will be breaking up this bond, and this electron then can freely move around the whole silicon crystal. Okay, now at the room temperature this electron gets the sufficient energy so that it can break up from this bond. Okay, so easily broken at the room temperature, this bond. And now just see what will happen if we give the sufficient amount of energy to this electron. This electron will be now freely can move around into the crystal. Okay, now initially the phosphorus atom was or the arsenic atom was electrically neutral. Yes, because initially, let's say this was the phosphorus atom, it has the 5 electrons, so it was electrically neutral. But when this electron will be breaking up from this nucleus, okay, so this electron, let's say, has moved out, then this phosphorus atom will be having the net positive charge on it. Okay, so that's why we call it donor atom means it is kind of giving up the electron. Okay, so now when this electrons break up, we call this ionized. So now this atom has been ionized. Yes, because it got the positive charge on this overall. So we call this ionized donor. So when we dope with the n-type donor, when we give the efficient energy or the temperature to this after doping, then these electrons will be breaking up from the atoms, and the donor, we will be getting the ionized donors. Okay, now let's say the concentration of the dopants. Okay, so the atoms which we are doping, let's say the concentration of these atoms is the Nd. Okay, so initially we are having the 5 into 10 to the power 20 atoms of the silicon per centimeter cube. Okay, now in this much of the atoms we are bringing up this Nd amount of atoms of dopant per centimeter cube. Okay, so this much of concentration we are mixing up with this much of concentration of the silicon. Now, and at the room temperature, or when we warm up this doped semiconductor, then the sum of the atoms will be ionized. Okay, so it is not that all of the atoms which we are mixing up will be ionized. Only some of the dopants will be ionized, and let's say the concentration of those ionized atoms is Nd plus. Okay, so let's say you mixed up the 5 atoms, and when you increase the temperature, let's say only 3 atoms gave up their electrons. Okay, so now we will be getting this Nd plus amount of electrons, free electrons, okay, only, yes, only those atoms which will be ionized will be giving up their electrons, yes. So we will be getting this much of the electrons per centimeter cube when we are kind of increasing the temperature or from the 0 Kelvin, okay. So if you increase the temperature from the 0 Kelvin and let's say at T is equal to 300 Kelvin, which is the room temperature, this much of the electrons we will be getting. So this is the concentration of electrons in the conduction band, okay, because these electrons after giving up or these electrons can now move into the conduction band, okay. These are the free electrons after breaking up from this atom. So in this way we will be getting the electron concentration, free electron concentration. Let's talk about the energy band diagram of these n types.